going to spend some time talking about love. Uh, I developed a topic which maybe you've never heard of before, which is called the fear of love. Most people talk about love, but many people do not really feel the feeling. There is a big difference between talking about love and saying I love you and actually feeling the experience in your heart. And that's going to be one of the themes that I'm going to talk about. Now, how many people here actually have a physical sensation of expansion and energy and joy actually in your heart and your chest? Raise your hand. Okay, well, that's terrific. So you are really experiencing what? Okay. So you are actually experience a feeling, because it's very easy to talk about love and to theorize about love and to give all the lectures, but many people that I meet really don't have a feeling, an actual feeling. That is the feeling of joyousness. How many people have that feeling every day? Wow, we have fantastic people here. How many people have it once a week? How many people haven't had it for months? Be honest.
So, you're talking about any kind of love, right?
I defined it a moment ago as an actual experience in your heart center, an actual physical sensation of a radiation of energy. Now, for the past century, the 20th century, we have been developing the brain. We have been developing medical machines, technology, scientists, the moon, NASA. We have been developing. All the scientists in the whole world and all the computer technology people and the programmers and all the presidents of all the countries, put them all together in one room. You know what? They cannot make one seed. Isn't that amazing? They cannot make a seed. What is more powerful, all the computers or one seed? If they all together cannot create a seed, what does that really tell us? To me, it tells the power of nature, that we must respect the power of nature. That's one of the reasons I moved to Costa Rica, which is a whole other story to tell you if we have the time. The laws of nature are stronger than everything that we create with our brain. What is the essence of the power of nature of a human being? It is your heart. The 21st century, hopefully, will bring us to heart focus and not just brain focus. The brain has been running us, and the brain is telling you what to do. You are conditioned from the day you are in the womb. You are being trained more and more to fit into the society and the culture and the geographic location that you are born into. And there goes the program. You are given values, ideas, beliefs, emotions, and without knowing it, we become unconscious robots to fulfill our purpose that we are trained to fulfill. Some of us begin to break away, and that's what's happening now. What is happening around the country and around the world, we are getting a higher consciousness. All the great names, all the leaders, all the Buddhas, the religions, whatever these great people were, they are all giving ideas. To come quickly up to date, we talk about, some of the speakers talked about the law of attraction, having visions in your mind, or going deep inside. If you take a seed and put it in the ground, that seed will sprout and it will grow. If you pour 2 gallons of water on it, you will kill it. You cannot rush the unfolding of the seed. If you have sun 24 hours a day on the seed, you may give it too much sun. So we have to respect the laws of nature. We are like seeds. And many of us are looking for answers. We are looking for solutions. Because we are insecure inside. We don't have the inner growth and the inner stability that would give us the maximum security and the maximum strength. So what do? We look first to the great people of the past and follow their teachings, or we invent new teachings like that become more popular, like the law of attraction and many things. But why do we need all this? Because deep inside of us, we need to cling. We need to hold on to something. We need a crutch to help us, because we do not have the strong legs by ourselves. And that sometimes comes because our growth and our background did not give us the love and the support and the security that we needed. So because we had certain lacks, and everyone to a various degree, we look for help. And more new ideas develop, and then you look on the internet, and there's another idea. Oh boy, let's join this. This is the latest. I'm at the leading edge. I have the latest. Or we try to look deep inside. Forget the latest. Go in, go in, go in, go in, one of the speakers said. So what is the solution to all of this? The solution is really easy if you think easy. I mentioned before that I lived in the jungle in the Fiji Islands. I lived in a village of 200 black people in the interior of the Fiji Islands. I did it because I wanted to learn. I said someday I may really be poor and I may have nothing, so I have to see how to live with nothing. So I had no bed and no bathroom and no hot water, and I slept on the ground. And I learned, as I said earlier, I learned that you need to breathe, you need to eat, and you need to sleep. If you have those 3 things, you will live. Everything else you don't need. But you have been trained. I was trained. I grew up with extreme poverty. So such poverty that I actually didn't have enough bread to eat. And I said, this is not good, it's not fun. So I learned about money along the way, how to create money. But when I lived in this village, I realized I don't need all these things that I was programmed to think that I need. Now, I'm talking about many, many things at once. I have enough material really to talk for 2 or 3 weeks, but I have to focus all of this in 45 minutes. So what I will do is condense things a lot. I'm going to also give you some handouts. I have something called the Energy of Life Institute in Costa Rica. And I'm going to focus a few minutes specifically. If I had more time, I would work with everyone individually to be able to help you move from where you are. And you are exactly where you should be. People, oh, if only I was here and only I was there and if only I had more of this and a little of that. Your life history has brought you to this moment. You are where you should be. You don't have to be anywhere else. Love. Love is live, open, vital energy. That's what love is. Love is an open energy. Where does it come from? The heart. Your heart is your center. Without the heart, if you understand the biology of the heart and how it moves in and out, which creates what we know as the heart pump, that is the foundation of your life, is your heart, your energy. And when you are feeling good or love, you are pumping the energy through your bodies. What closes down the amount of energy? Fear. Fear is frozen energy, accumulates rot. When you have fear, you begin to shut down. And we're going to talk a little bit about all these different things. But we're going to talk now about the cell, the structure of the cell. One of the foremost pieces of research now is by Bruce Lipton, called The Biology of Belief. How many people know about that book? Oh, great. Okay, so Bruce Lipton is talking about the structure of the cell, and I'm going to talk a little bit about it in a modified way. Every single cell, if I had more space, we would do this technically. Every cell in your body needs nutrients. It needs food. And it needs to eliminate waste products. How does that stuff come in and stuff go out? By you putting it in and you cleaning it out. Every cell functions independently. If you give the cell bad stuff, what is not a really good, healthy nutrient, then that cell is not going to function up to 100% capacity. I also teach nutrition and disease prevention and longevity in many different subjects. I've been in the field well over 50 years, so I have a diverse background. Now, Bruce Lipton discusses, being a microbiologist, the enzymes and the cell structure and the wall of the cell. And in his book, and I'm condensing this, he says that you have control over your cells. And if you think a certain way, you can influence the cell one way or influence the cell another way. So the mind has control over the cells, and then your same mind is putting the food and liquid into your mouth. I will bet you 10 to 1 that everyone here this morning put poison in their mouth. I'll give you 10 to 1. That you have put poison in your mouth and you are poisoning your body in decreasing your energy. That's a whole other subject which has to do with nutrition. I happen to be involved with the raw food movement and teach about live enzymes, but we won't go too much into that because of limited time. Now, what creates fear? What is underneath fear? Can anyone tell me, and only with one word? If you have a one word, raise your hand. What creates fear? One word. Anybody? One word can only say what word? disappointment. Anybody else? Yes, expectation create fear.
Unknown.
Unknown. What? Insecurity. Insecurity, yeah. Underneath fear is what?
Just wanted to play lack.
Lack. Okay, good. No, we need to play. That's what life is, a big game for me anyway. Underneath fear is powerlessness. When you don't feel you have power to deal with the circumstance or the situation, then you are afraid. If I come over to somebody with a 2x4 and raise it over their head, and I'm 6'5", they don't have power against me unless they have a gun or something. So underneath fear is powerlessness. So if you have any fears in your life, search your mind. As I said before, if I had time, I would help every single person here to do that. And see, when did you feel powerless in your life? And we all did. I surely did. Now I'm going to, again, move quickly. Okay. What happens is we are afraid of love, many of us. We are afraid of love, but we don't realize it. We are afraid because some people feel vulnerable. If they feel love or in love, they feel vulnerable. They may feel pain and hurt. They may fear being controlled, victimized, abused, used, that they will fail, that they have weakness, that they may be rejected, that they may be abandoned, that they may have to take new responsibility and they don't want responsibility. Many of us model our parents' situation, the relationship mother and father had, and then we think, oh, it's going to be the same thing. So we fear becoming suppressed or trapped, and also the unknown, which was mentioned here. So those are some of the fears that we have that make us protect ourselves. So what happens is we close down. Now a cell is either open and growing, because every cell in your body is growing every minute, or if it is not growing, then it is in the protection mode. You are protecting yourself. So either you are growing or you are protecting yourself. So how do we protect ourselves? We become defensive. We become controlling. We find fault in other people. Or we actually become bitter. We protect ourselves. And of course, when we protect ourselves, not only are we protecting ourselves emotionally and mentally, we are actually hurting ourselves physically, because that cell has a mind. Do you know, Bruce Lipton says, each cell has 100,000 enzymes. Each single cell. Wow. That's a complicated situation, but you can influence your cells. And he explains that in the book. I'm not going to go into it because I'll run out of my 45 minutes too quickly. So what we need to do, and I'm simplifying all this, we need to, number one, learn about forgiveness, which you all know about. And how does forgiveness take place? You can't just go and say, okay, you stole money from me, or you beat me, or you deceived me, and I forgive you. True forgiveness is not so simple. That's what they teach you. Be forgiving. But in your heart, in your being, you're not really that forgiving. It pisses you off what was done to you. So forgiveness comes through spiritual understanding, of really understanding that that other person or people who have done something to hurt you, to abuse you, to use you, at that moment in their life, that was the best they could do. And when you understand that if you were in their shoes at that moment, you may have been doing the same thing. It's like people who stole money from me. Yes, I get very angry from someone who steals, but if I can get my consciousness to a spiritual level, to another level, which again takes development and work and training. You don't do this like this. Okay, I'm spiritual now. I hug the tree. It's a growth process. We are seeds. You cannot suddenly, because you read a book or heard a great speaker, become on that level. If you know how to do magic, please teach me. So far, I have learned that I have to grow like a seed in steps, little by little. So when you get into understanding the other person's position, and you can, as maybe Wayne Dyer would say, to step above and look down at both of you and see that person without the judgment that you're going to normally do because they used and abused you, then you can begin to understand the beginning of forgiveness. So, the next thing is that you need, as was mentioned many times, to feel that you yourself are lovable. That's where it starts. And that feeling that you yourself are lovable, of course, comes from way back from your parents, who gave you enough strokes, enough love, enough caring to make you feel that way. So you have to learn to love yourself more and more depending upon the deficiency that you had when you were a little baby. And we need to learn to heal our hearts and to open our hearts. And you cannot just learn it because you heard somebody say it. It's a whole process, a whole psychological, psychodynamic process that in the terms of psychologists, they call it working through. That you really have to work through this process. It's not a magical process. It's a process where you work things through so you have the capacity to love again and make yourself healthy. So this is an introduction. Now, I'm going to pass out some papers to you. Please pass these around, and did you get one? No, you please. No, I need one. I need one. Are there any left?
Yes, right here.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So now, the fear of love and healing the heart. I have 12 items here, as you can see. On each one, I can spend at least 1 hour on each one. So I have to say that because of the time limitations that I have here today, I cannot explain and work with you on each one of these items. I brought this to at least give you something to go home with, and each one of these takes a lot of explanation. Number one, the broken heart, the heart of stone, letting go of pain. How many people here have ever felt a broken heart? Raise your hand. Yeah. Okay, so you know what a broken heart is. And there are many expressions that we use. Have a good heart, don't be heartless, have a broken heart. That's very heartwarming. There are so many expressions in our culture about the heart. I wonder why. Because we know somewhere inside of us that everything is really all about the heart, even though the brain keeps working and making new machines. And speaking of those new machines, they now have more medical devices that you can imagine. And of course, the drug companies keep inventing new diseases. You know this disease? You know you need pills for this disease, which is called the restless leg syndrome. They make up diseases and sell the drugs. And that's the way the culture is. That's why I'm doing something a little bit different. I am really here, if you ask about purpose, which someone mentioned in the talk, is to reduce human suffering. That's my purpose, to reduce human suffering. And when I do that, I am blessed. I'm blessed together with that person when I can reduce your suffering. And I know that I can do it because I've been doing it for many, many, many years. With all those new medical devices and those 8,000 drugs, more childhood cancer that never existed before, childhood diabetes that never existed before, cancer life risk ratios for men, 1 out of 2 now, 1 out of 2, women 1 out of 3. Cancer is a major business. I was on the board of directors of the Gerson Institute. Did anyone ever hear of the Gerson Institute that cures cancer, including pancreatic cancer? But you're not allowed to do it in the United States. It's against the law to cure cancer. If you're in California and you're a medical doctor and you don't use radiation and chemotherapy, you can lose your license and get a $10,000 fine. So the Gerson Institute does their practicing in Tijuana. They have their office in San Diego. So with all this new stuff, what are they doing? They're using your bodies. They are selling you genetically engineered food that you don't know is genetically engineered food with no labels on it. You are eating and feeding your children poison on a daily basis. So that's why I have an organic farm in Costa Rica, because I am growing my food. If you want to become healthier and live another lifestyle and increase your consciousness to nature, because I won't say connect to nature. Whether you know it or not, you are connected to nature. Even if you don't think about it. We are not separate from nature. We are part of nature, but we are trained to think that we have to go to the woods or come here to this beautiful place to get in touch with nature. You're in touch with it, even no matter where you live, but you are not conscious of many, many things. So, in order to go to point number 1, the broken heart, the heart of stone, what breaks your heart? Many different things. One of the things that breaks your heart is you lose an attachment. What is love? Love starts inside in the womb, and you come out, and if you're lucky, mommy is there, and mommy is holding you, and feeding you, and you develop not only a physical and emotional and psychological attachment, you develop a bond, a deep, 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 deep bond with the mother and the father, possibly, if he's a good guy and he doesn't run away and leave the mother, because, I've been to many countries where that's the style. You have the babies and then it's adios, amiga. And I know that whole culture. So love is an attachment. And what happens is we have in us this capacity for this attachment. And then we shift the attachment from mommy onto, when we grow up, onto another person. The man shifts it onto a woman, and we develop an attachment. And when we lose that attachment, we feel pain. We have a broken heart when we lose the attachment. So what happens is we associate love with pain. So how many of you have ever cried for love? Cried, actual, the feeling of crying. Yes, yeah. Because that tear, those tears were so connected to the love that it's almost like you cannot separate the tears and the love and the pain. It's all like a mixture of a blend of all those feelings going together. So how do we reignite our capacity to be able to feel love again? Item number 2 says, love and tears, the pain of the past. Is there anyone here who has never had any pain? Raise your hand. Okay, so we all know about pain. Now there is a way to get rid of all the pain of your life. And I say if we had more time, I could demonstrate this to you on an individual basis. To free yourself of all the pain. What has the pain got to do with? Let's quickly look at number 3. Let out the old anger, the fear, and the sadness, which may be due to loss, thus causing depression. How many people here have ever felt depressed? Depression is caused primarily, many reasons. I mean, it can be caused from drinking 6 Coca-Colas, or it can be caused from losing a loved one, or losing a job, or from internalized, unexpressed anger. So there are many causes of depression, many possibilities. But one of the things is that when you lose something, you lose the attachment, you don't feel good. And your self-esteem goes down, and your energy goes down, and you get a little lethargic, and you feel depressed because you lose the love that was part of this support system. Now, the wounds that you had, and we have all been wounded, the wounds that you have prevent regaining the new energy feelings of love and security. We are wounded. And I brought this book here. I wrote this book in 1978. It was the first book in the world on integrative therapy and holistic diagnosis. And the reason I brought the book is because there is a chapter here called The Aspects of the Psychodynamics of Energy. And there are a bunch of drawings in this book about the energy. And it goes on to explain here what happens when we get a wound. A wound is something that hurts us. So it goes on to show through a series of drawings and explanations about how an actual pain is created in us and a wound. And if we get a wound here and a wound here and a wound here, eventually we begin to close down because we develop a protective mode. We're sick and tired of getting all these wounds. So for any of you who are interested in reading about it, I brought some books here. And you know what? Since this was written in 1978, it says on the cover $8.95. Now it would be $25. These books cost me $2. I sell it, if you want, for $2. I don't want to make any money. That's not my goal. If you're interested in reading the book, I just break even. Oh, that's not a, okay. So,
Take a dozen.
what?
Take a dozen.
If there, I don't know.
Make a business with that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay.
we give them away.
So now the next step here on that wheel number 3, to let go of the old, you must locate, identify, and feel and release the painful feelings by understanding, which I mentioned before, and forgiving. You cannot fill in the new until you empty out the old. Call that psychotherapy or psychoanalysis. Clean the garbage out, basically, simply put. So in order to be able to fill up again, we have to clean up. It's just like physically, you need to detoxify your body. How many people clean their liver every day? I know she does. That's what. Good. Okay. So you know how to clean your liver. There's a whole program to detoxify your body, your arteries, which is another thing. I used to own a health spa near Palm Springs in 1981, so I got into that whole detoxification. I studied the people called the Hunsacuts. Their average lifespan is 115. The women have babies in their 80s. They have no cancer. They have no diabetes. They have no heart attacks. They have no strokes. They have no diseases. They have no doctors. They have no banks, and they have no policemen. But they go till 150.
What is the name of that tribe?
Hunza, Hunza. And the book
Where is this at?
in the top of the Himalaya mountains.
Hamsa Yoga?
They have what?
Hamsa Yoga?
Toyota?
Hamsa Yoga.
Yoga, Hunza Yoga. I don't know. I haven't been there. But they have a whole culture. The book came out in 1962. They sent a research team up there who wrote a little pocket book. I think it was $3 when I bought it, or $2. And I got interested in 1962 about health. So there are so many things that we could talk about and do to make you healthier from your heart, from your physical body, from your lifestyle. As one of the speakers said, you have everything, but we need to clean out the junk, the garbage, the poison. There's only, yes?
But we go to Vietnam every day, don't you clean yourself out?
No. That's only a fraction of what's in you. That is only what comes out.
I'm full of it.
So the point is that if you don't detoxify yourself, and you can be thin like I am and still be toxic, if you don't detoxify yourself, you're going to find that you're going to start to lose energy, you're going to slow down, you're going to occasionally get tired, and you're not going to have your full life. You're going to shorten your lifspan. I don't want to do that, so I devote myself to my program, something called daily practice. I practice every day. I am over 75 years old, and I will challenge any man here to match me with the push-ups.
Can we see a demonstration?
What?
Can we see a demonstration?
Well, yes, I do push-ups on my knees, and I can do 300 without stopping. So
I have to say, Dr. Walter is a very interesting man, as you guys can see, and everybody here, every one of the speakers are in the entertainment industry. Dr. Walter made a movie himself, and in this movie there is a beautiful journey that he makes to
Cali.
In Colombia, in search for love, and it's a beautiful documentary where he himself reveals his own vulnerability in the subject of love and his own innocence, and it's beautiful. In preparation for this journey, he does his push-ups. So I've seen him live, actually on film, do those push-ups. So I can definitely.
But it was not enough time to do all 300 there because it would ruin the movie.
Yeah, there was a lot of editing.